speaking of lions, let's get into our Leos. Our Leos. Finally, I know you've been sitting there ever so patiently, you fixed fire sign, wondering, when are they going to talk about me? When am I going to be brought up? I'm the most important. Yes, Leo, we know. All right, Leos, you're born between July 21st and August 21st. You're a fixed fire sign. You're one of the calmer fire signs. A lot of the time, there are Leos who can get very angry and very aggressive, but sometimes Leos choose to not have that fire come out, and that's an okay thing. A lot of the time, Leos just kind of want to be not necessarily the center of attention, but they want to be known how great they are, and they are great. Why should we disagree with that? They are great. They represent the sun. If you're looking in the sky, you're trying to look for this kind of almost lion-shaped thing up in the sky, set of stars there. And Leo really rules the heart, upper back, the blood, and parts of the spleen, specifically the red pulp of the spleen. Leo is a very, very, very interesting sign. They know themselves in better than pretty much any other sign. They're also one of the most paternal signs, representing God's light or God's grace. But again, they also have a negative aspect, which I will get into. So if you look at the sigil of Leo, the lion, it looks actually like a sperm tail or a dragon. And that is why in the Chinese zodiac it looks like a dragon, or it is a dragon. But the sigil in the Western astrology looks like a little sperm tail, because whereas Cancer was the womb, Leo is the sperm, and both of those are what are necessary for creation. So a lot of Leos are described as being courageous, loyal, ambitious, creative, very loving, especially. Like they love if you love a Leo, they're gonna love you even more. But they can also be headstrong, bossy, arrogant, egoistic, and proud. Now, I have another word here, and I call this the supernova. Okay? I know a lot of Leo people. My mother, for example, was a Leo. She is no longer on this planet because she's dead. And the reason she died was because of what I call the supernova. The supernova is basically this effect that I see in Leos, where they're either shining bright like the sun and everyone loves to be around them, or they fucking implode on themselves and they do horrible things, like they drink heavily and they do drugs and they get involved with a bunch of shit that they know that they shouldn't, and they do it anyway. And then you know what ends up happening? They die. Just like a star. They die. And they leave everybody else who loved them behind. So I'm just speaking from personal experience here. I have recognized a lot of Leos will literally implode on themselves. They'll take out anger and aggression on themselves by just becoming these like alcoholic, drug addict, hyper obsessive, narcissistic, super proud people. And I will tell you, I know quite a lot of people with Leo energy, and it seems to be a common trait, especially people who dabble in the darker stuff, hedonism, or any of the dark mysteries. If you have any semblance of Leo energy, if you're born even close to the cusp of this, on July 21st or August 21st, you better not dabble in those darker mysteries, because they will not do you justice. They will not serve you, and it'll ultimately end up just killing you. One of the big stars in Leo is Regulus, and Regulus is a very kingly star. It's actually towards the tail end of Leo in the later month of August. But that being said, lions and dragons are mainly the two kind of creatures that are associated with Leo a lot of the time. And if we look at a Leo, which again represents that sun archetype, the infinity, the analium, which is the pattern that the sun makes in the sky, the figure 8, it's an infinity sign. Why? Because Leos can just keep going and going and going. For example, I think this is this J-Lo? I don't know if this is J-Lo. If this is Jennifer Lopez, I don't know if this is, but if this is Jennifer Lopez, like, she just doesn't seem to ever go away. Same with this guy, Chris Hemsworth. He's very rugged and handsome. He's got this nice beard. They got this big mane of hair. You'll notice with Leos, I actually don't have a good example here, but if you get a Leo with a lot of hair, they have these big manes of hair. Looks like 80s hairstyles, They're very, very attractive people. Not necessarily like anything in particular. They get big bright eyes. They got the big strong, a lot of the time for the men especially, strong bodies. They're tall, they're handsome. The women are beautiful. Leo is a much better sign for males just like Cancer is a much better sign for females. But c'est la vie, regardless, it doesn't matter. The point being, the Leo is a very paternal sign, and males with Leonic energy oftentimes have very, very good energy. However, I want to say the negative, other than the supernova. Full moons in August are the worst full moons of any time of the year. You want to fact check me? Look up the murder of Chris Watts and his family. He killed his whole family when there was a full moon in August, right before the school year was about to start. And that is actually the time, from what I can tell, that a lot of deaths occur through acts of like violence from a male's perspective, actually. Men on those full moons get very irrational, I feel. And I would probably be... it would probably make the same thing to say for a full moon in Cancer, which would, I think, be in Capricorn at the time. So, yeah, the July and August, obviously, are the most powerful months when it comes to the weather. This is why, like, the heat of the summer and everybody gets all hot, especially in the northern hemisphere and whatnot. Those are very, very powerful. It's very... you got to be very careful during those periods of time. But otherwise, yeah, that's all I really wanted to share. Leos, I love you. Keep being you. Maybe drop the ego a little bit, but just keep being you. Everybody loves you. Stop worrying about if everybody loves you or not. Of course everybody loves you. You're a Leo. Duh.